If you asked virtually anybody a year ago, if you thought there would ever be a time in the United States of America where you have to have a passport in America to go state to state or to go to a store or to just go anywhere, they would have said you're crazy. But things are changing, and they are changing quickly. Privacy is very important. It's a right, and it's something we believe in here at privacyxproject.com. But today, you're going to want to stay to the end of this one. This one is literally going to impact and change everyone's life. All right, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about the passports, the immune passports. Have you gotten an injection passport? This is going to create a host of problems. Now, there's already a bunch of states saying they're not going to do it. You know, the interesting thing about the United States of America is we've already seen a few countries say they're going to do it. They're going to ban countries who don't do it, and then they've retracted for some bigger countries like the United States, because if the United States doesn't do it and they block the U.S., it's going to hurt them more than us. And we've seen this happen a lot, and now in the United States, we've seen some states be like, oh yeah, we're going to do immune passports. And we've seen other states like, there's no chance in this world. Same thing we've seen with gun rights, same thing we've seen with virtually everything. I mean, there's states right now that are 100% open. You look at Texas. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, well, you know, it's interesting because Texas, everything's open. And you look at other states and everything's closed. You look at the communist state of New York, one of the worst states. I always am baffled when people say, oh, New York is one of the greatest states, one of the greatest cities. New York is a literal garbage dump. And there's some great people there, but New York is literally sewage. And we have some great places in America. We have a lot of great places, and New York is not one of them. New York isn't in the top 10. New York isn't in the top 50. And you see places like that that are all on board. Like, yeah, we need vaccine passports and more taxes and more of this. And it makes me wonder why people even live there. It's not worth, you don't get enough benefit. And now, with everything that's happened, it's kind of shined a light on, hey, you're spending $4,500 a month for a one-bedroom apartment that sucks. Why? Because you got a beautiful view of buildings. Wow, impressive. And you have access to things. You're paying for access. Well, when you lost all that access, now you're sitting in a box, you're depressed, and suicide rates 10x. Like, it's very unfortunate. And so we're going to a time with these immune passports where a lot of people are not going to take them. A lot of people are quoting the Bible, biblical times, mark of the beast. Some people are quoting religious reasons. Some people are quoting everything you would think of. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go the way the government would like it to go. But it's to further divide the people. The government, one thing the government's good at is to further divide the people. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. The government knows they need the people divided. When the people are united, that's the scariest thing for the government. People blamed, Bush and Clinton and Obama and Trump and now Biden. And if I'm being honest, that roster of presidents is an embarrassment. Like, none of those presidents were like, whoa, this is our best and brightest. Some of those presidents were better than others, and you have your political beliefs and I have mine. But the reality is, every single president and every single politician has always sown in some sort of divide. Now, sometimes it's been deeper than others, but they have to. Because when the people unite, the people get what they want. The government is for the people, by the people, but it's not, and we all know it's not. And so it's very interesting to see these immune passports come about. We've recently seen the MLB talk about moving the All-Star game because of some new voter laws in Georgia. The irony is these passports are going to create more disparity and more issues for more people than any voter laws ever could even dream of. I mean, this is going to crush some people's day-to-day life, depending upon where you live, depending upon if your state adopts it, depending upon if the businesses you go to adopt it. And it really comes down to businesses. The interesting thing, I mean, we look at Disney, right? Disney lost close to $7 billion. I mean, when they're not open worldwide, it's like $30 to $40 million a day. A day. You do realize that is between 10 and 20 times what the average American makes in a lifetime. In a lifetime. And they lose that in a day. Every single day, they lost $7 billion worldwide last year, give or take. There's these big companies that can do this stuff and they can hold out because they have money. There's mom and pop companies that don't want to do a lot of things, but also can't afford to go against the grain because they could put them out of business. But if they go against their customers, customers are going to say, forget you, I'm going elsewhere, which I know I would do the same thing, which will put them out of business. So there's a lot of small businesses that are kind of in between a rock and a hard place, because if they make the government mad, they could get fines and fees that they can't afford. And if they make the customers mad, which a lot of small businesses have made the customers, and it's kind of sad. I've seen a lot of small businesses do interviews and stuff, and they're like, listen, we tried to do the lockdown, our customers got mad, and they never came back. They never came back. And these companies aren't big box stores where they have billions of dollars to spend in marketing. These companies, once they lose their customers, they're gone. They're going to go elsewhere because they don't need them. And a lot of these customers, a lot of these restaurants, a lot of these gyms, they lost their customers forever, seemingly, most of them. And they're going out of business. And we've lost tens of millions of companies. And now we're putting the squeeze. We're doing one of the most un-American things imaginable with this passport. Now, whether or not this goes into effect or not, nobody really knows. Everyone says everything's going to go into effect. Whether or not how deep it goes, we don't know yet. We just simply don't know. We will know soon, but we just don't know yet. So it's going to be really interesting. Financial institutions, businesses, of course, government. Now, can the government legally stop? Like, let's say the government was going to do another stimulus. They said you can't get a stimulus without the vaccine. They can't do that. Will they try? Maybe. I mean, the government has been, the last 20 years, the government has been trying a lot of stupid and a lot of illegal stuff. They've been pushing the bounds at a level that is insane. And that's not one singular president. That's like the last 4 presidents have been pushing the level to a whole new level. So, and that's a mixture between Democrats and Republicans. The fact is, will they try to do this? Maybe. Will they get pushback? Probably. Will it work? We're going to see. The government is in a place now where they're just throwing darts at the wall to see what sticks. Where they get too much pushback, they give up. And where they don't get pushback, they squeak things in. And they keep squeaking things in. Will we end up with these immune passports? Maybe. But also, if enough people band together, which they've already done in certain businesses, certain states, we've already seen certain businesses who are all on board already regress. The government came out and said that because of the new administration, there's a good chance they're not going to give airlines as much money as the previous administration was planning on. Now, if a lot of these airlines do immune passports, but they're one of the first companies in line to do this, I won't fly. I don't care. I don't need to fly. I won't fly if that happens. And I know endless people, the first thing they say is, I'll never fly again. And while we have those. As soon as they delete those, we'll go back to flying. If that happens, you're going to squeeze these airlines because these airlines are already bankrupt. And by airlines, I mean literally all of them. And there's a lot of other stores that can hold on for a year or two, but they're already getting crushed. And the government's not going to give them, they can only give them so much more money. And the government's already pulled back from airlines because they don't even care about the airlines, this new administration. I mean, they've had deals in place where it shuts down most of the airlines. So now airlines are in a really weird spot because if they do this, a lot, not all, there's still going to be passengers, but a lot of passengers are going to be like, nope. And then some are going to be like, yeah, sure, absolutely. But it's not going to fill the planes. The planes are going to be partially full. And these airlines can't operate that way. And the same thing with sporting events, making all your sporting events political, and then when baseball files bankruptcy or NBA files bankruptcy, you only have yourself to blame. People want entertainment. Now, if an athlete uses their platform for social justice or for change or for a charity or for an organization, I think that's great. But to use an entire sport is a bad idea. Now, personally, I don't care. I don't have any skin in the game. I don't give a crap about sports. I'm too busy living my real life. I really don't care about sports anymore. I did when I was younger. I played sports. I watched sports. I really haven't watched, and it has nothing to do with the pandemic. I really have kind of pivoted away from sports over the last 10 years because they're boring. Most of the best players have retired. The glory days of sports, it's just a bunch of whiners. If you touch someone, it's a foul. If you look at someone, it's, racism. It's just stupid. All these sports are garbage. And so I pivoted away a long time ago. But now you see these sports like, well, we need backing from the government. The government can't bail out everyone. And if they do, it's going to make the dollar literally worthless, literally worth less than the paper it's printed on. And so it's really going to be an interesting year to see where sports goes. Now, and again, if sports want to do certain political stances, that's fine. That's their right as an independent business. But keep in mind, there's consequences. I mean, baseball's ratings are at an all-time low. Basketball's ratings are an absolute joke. If these companies keep down this road, they will run out of money. They will. And, all companies will at a certain point. I mean, Las Vegas shut down for 6 months. Most of the major casinos, which there's 3 major properties, said that they basically opened. The governor said no, and the casino said, yeah, we're otherwise open or we're going out of business. And, you know, people are going to start. I mean, the governor of Nevada probably should be in prison, and he might. The governor of New York definitely should be in prison, and he, down the road he probably will be in prison, or he'll be riddled with fines and his life will be ruined, which is where it should be because he's a piece of garbage. The governor of Nevada should be in prison, and eventually he might be. The governor of California should absolutely be in prison. These people are, the stuff they've done is ridiculous, and it's starting to slowly but surely come out. But it doesn't really matter because they've already wrecked the people. They've already wrecked the average American. So the reality is right now with these passports, do you think these passports are going to happen? Do you think you're going to have a passport to go to a store or go to a different state? Or do you think it's all just hype? I think like a lot of things in America, it's going to land somewhere in the middle. I think they will roll them out in certain places. I know for a fact, a lot of states are going to reject them. And then some states are going to take them. And then those states are going to get crushed because all the people are going to move out. All the people who are like New York, they're like, well, it's only like 8% of New Yorkers have left. Well, yeah, but that 8%, all of them are pretty much in the top 5% of income earners. So it's not 8% of taxes. New York is New York is on track to potentially lose like 50% of their tax revenue. And that's the thing. In America, it comes down to tax dollars. There's a lot of people who are living on welfare or disability or low-income jobs that didn't even notice much in the pandemic as far as economics. They might have noticed, obviously, lifestyle changes, but not economics. But the top income earners noticed major economics, and they moved to other places, like Texas and Florida and Nevada. Nevada's been a lot of other states. So that's my take on it. What do you think? Do you think we're going to have these passports? I think it's going to land somewhere in the middle, just like everything. Just like gun rights, just like everything we do in America is a complete mess, and everyone always blames the president. And that's fine. Whoever the president is, it is their fault. They are the leader. But the reality is America's got a system where it's all about gray areas. It's all about confusion, right? It's all about state by state, which is fine. But we're going to have maybe 20, 30 states adopt this and 20 to 25 to 30 states not adopt it. We're going to fall somewhere in the middle, like always. And then people are going to migrate out of those states because why would you live like that? It doesn't make any sense. And then if they do it in travel and they do it across the board, then a whole bunch of people are not going to fly. So it's going to be a really interesting thing if this passes or not. First of all, it is completely unconstitutional. And people are trying to set precedents. Well, we had this back when you travel to other countries with yellow fever or you get a yellow card. Okay. But we're not talking about traveling to other countries and getting a yellow card. We're talking about going to Whole Foods. We're talking about going to the auto parts store. We're talking about going to the car dealership. We're talking about flying. We're talking about going from Texas to North Dakota, or from North Dakota to Seattle, or from Seattle to Chicago, or Chicago to Tampa. That's not going to some foreign country that may or may not have yellow fever. So they're not comparing apples to apples. They're comparing, BBs to Buicks. It's not even in the same category. This is stupid. So anyway, let me know what you think about it down below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Have an amazing day. Go all in everything you do, and I'll see you in the next video.